And welcome to episode number 5 of the Prog.cast. Today, just wanted to highlight our sponsor of the week. First sponsor we've had of the show. You maybe heard of this before. This week they're giving you the great offer of how to possibly subscribe to their newsletter. The graphic you'll see pop up on the screen. It's simple as emailing breadfest2016@gmail.com, and you can subscribe. Please put subscribe in the subject line, and then follow them on Facebook. They say their newsletter is coming soon. Potential content you could see in the Breadfest email includes monthly recipes, upcoming breaded days, bread facts, questions, answers, prizes, ? So, if you like this little infographic and you think you want to sponsor a Prog.cast show, why not? Send us something. We'll see if we like your offer.
Cash
Cash is preferred. But, we work in other ways, too.
Ryan wrote a big check.
Yeah, Ryan wrote a huge check for this to sponsor this show today.
Yeah, I got a new 2000 Focus outside.
Ooh, man.
Yep.
All right. September events. We've already been through a few of these before.
Not a joke, Bradley. That is the email address. And just so you know, I was involved in an email writing session with these guys. The care and time they take to respond to their fans and the writing that you see in these emails is second to none.
Wow.
Yeah.
I'm going to email today.
Yeah, I recommend everyone emails them just to see what kind of response they get.
Definitely on their Facebook page. You probably could see future episodes of the Prog.cast as well as another place to pick up the Prog.cast. September events. We've had a few of these already. Spinal Hygiene Clinic was huge turnout the other weekend. Hopefully we'll see a few more of those in the future. Labor Day Hero Wad, that already happened. New yoga class schedule. Please take a look at this infographic. It's been up for a little bit now. If you're watching in rewind or in not in real time, so in space time, you could pause and read through all the new yoga classes. Check it out. We have more offerings. We have different class styles. You're going to like it. Progression Nutrition. This is always on our event schedule. Schedule a free nutrition appointment with Jen or Julie literally any day of the week. All right? Literally any day of the week. You can do that via cfbfit.com. Click on the gray bar that says schedule your no sweat intro today, and one of the options under there is the half-hour nutrition session. That's anybody at CFP, that's your friends and family who maybe don't even want to come to the gym, but they want nutrition help. They can come here for that. Upcoming events in the distance or in the future. We have Minnesota Open in October, largest weightlifting meet in the Midwest. We have a lot of entries coming in for that. We're going to be looking for volunteers for that as well. Keep that weekend free if you're interested. If you've had a fun time in the past, come on out again. If you want to know a little bit more about weightlifting, come volunteer. We'll have a spot for you. Halloween party at Club 83, October 27th. We've been spitballing some themes around.
5x5.
Don't know what we're going to be leaning towards, but maybe something with alien themes. I don't know. And then, of course, Turkey Throwdown way in the distance, November 17th. That's a blast. Get your team together. Get a slightly inappropriate team name, one that we could read aloud, though, and get your friends together and work out hard. We're already working hard on the workouts for that. Again, you're going to like it. Okay. With that being said, it is time for the fabled question and answer. Every time you hear that Hadouken sound, you should know. Anyways.
Hey, Bradley. Hey, Michelle. Hey, Logan. Hey, Annie. Brittany. Melissa. Jen. Kelly. John. Jackson.
Oh, yeah. Shout out to all the people watching. Thank you so much. Remember, if you have additional questions, Josh will be taking those. He's watching in the feed for them.
Yes.
And we will answer them at the end of the question and answer period. So if you have something you want to answer, or if we can tie it into one of our questions, you want us to elaborate upon it, please, by all means, throw it in. Okay. So first and foremost, the Prog.cast, more of a topic than a question. Prog.cast is a good platform to review gym policy on kids, open gym times, open gym etiquette. And
is this Michael's?
No, this was entered by a member. This was entered by a member. Thank you so much. It is good to go over because we've had a lot of changes as of late even. So, Josh, do you want to start us off on some of this? I'm going to pull up an infographic really quick while you start to talk.
Okay, cool. So gym policy on kids comes from our insurance company. Basically, there can be no kids on the matted flooring when there's barbells out there or a class is going on. We specifically designed our gym the way we did so that it was kid-friendly. Kids can go in the kids' room. They can stay in the cement. They can go to the restroom. They can get a drink. All that stuff was pre-thought out for the specific purpose. So basically, if there's class going on, kids can't be on the rubber floor. So usually kids are pretty good with understanding barriers like that. Nope, stay in the cement. Don't go on the mat. So pretty simple. We have it posted, and it's been really good for a long time now. So
yeah, and if you don't know where to reference that, if you're new to the gym, we encourage you to bring your children. If that allows you to get a workout in, do it. That's what the kids' room is there for. But please help us out if a mess is created in the kids' room. We'd appreciate if you clean it up, or at least let us know, hey, one of the bean bags got broken into. There's stuffing everywhere in the room, so we can get a vacuum on that so other kids aren't eating it or doing whatever they do with it. Okay. And then open gym policy and gym etiquette. So I have a nice little infographic here I'm going to bring up. This is posted in the hallway of the doorway to the gray gym. Okay. What we have is...
Did you find that on Facebook?
No, I just took a picture of that today with flash. It looks nice though, doesn't it?
You couldn't take the duck off there?
No, it looked great. And it ties in later with one of our questions. Yeah. But anyway, so you can see our open gyms hours. What does this mean? This means essentially this is when you're free to use the gray gym as a part of your membership currently. So if the times that aren't listed on here, we'd prefer if you weren't using it for open gym, as that means there's probably a class going on. If it's like a super small class, there's one or two people, even then we usually ask you to try to keep your training or your extra work during those open gym times. But if for whatever reason that was the only time you could get something in and it's a small class, always check with the coach who's in that room. Okay?
Yep, that's the biggest thing. Got to check in with the coach. They are responsible for the entire gym floor during their hour of coaching. So you're under their umbrella, so to speak. So it's very important you check in with them.
Mm-hmm. That's the biggest thing. And then usually this isn't even an issue ever. So as far as etiquette goes, we talked about that a little bit. Check with the coach. If you are lifting off to the side, if a coach said that was okay during like a really small class or something like that, just be aware of if you're dropping barbells. It probably isn't nice to drop barbells during a coach's whiteboard discussion or during a talking portion of the class. I know as a coach that's really, really hard to try to talk over that. Remember the class.
Yeah, there's a lot of memes about that in the affiliate owners blog. So you don't want to be in one of those memes, guys.
Yeah, this there's the threat. There's the daily threat. Okay. But you guys get the picture. Just be aware of what you're doing. And it should almost be like you aren't even there in the corner if you are squeezed into a corner doing some mobility or some bodybuilding work when another class is going on. All right. So thank you so much for following that. If you have questions, please feel free to shoot them out or talk to me or Josh or any coach in person, and we could answer that for you. So let's go to next question. My zone. How to use the data to your advantage. What ranges should you be shooting for different types of activity? Is a yellow walk just as good as a yellow run, for example? Josh, I'm going to let you start this one. / maybe finish it.
Yeah. We could have a whole show on this. Basically,
Give us a rundown first, okay? Like different
it's
zones,
so
different
hard.
types of workouts. What's the premise here? What could I take away? I'm wearing my zone during a workout, and what should I be watching for? What should I look at when I look after the workout?
It depends on what you're doing. So I added the orange filter in there now, so that's kind of the range where you're going to see the most improvement in your fitness, I would say. But like if we have a short workout, like workout that's supposed to be 2 or 3 minutes, you theoretically should be red zone. I say theoretically because this all depends on the individual, especially since we have a lot of great older athletes in our gym. Nothing I'm going to tell you now is going to be set in stone. So short workouts should be in the red. All right, that's the intensity we need to have to get the intended stimulus, most likely. I would say orange as well now, because the red zone is pretty small now. It's only above 96%, I would say. So orange zone or red zone for short workouts. The 10 to 15 minute range workout, which is the gold of CrossFit, is probably good. Probably good if you're in the yellow. If you're not getting into the yellow in those workouts, there's either an issue with your heart, there's an issue with your myzone, or there's an issue with your ability to do the movements quickly, intensely.
So, for example, like technical movements, if you don't have those down in a longer workout, could change what your heart rate gets up to.
Absolutely, and that's where the skill of CrossFit comes in, and why new people might see take longer to see really classic CrossFit results, because it's such a high skill activity. So in a rev workout, you're probably going to be yellow most of the time, unless it's a really long one and you just get burned out and you can't go any harder. Then green zone is fine. But
so that's super long. That's we're talking pure cardio.
Pure cardio, the green zone.
Pure aerobic training.
Yep. It's great supposedly for fat burning for a little while, and then your body adapts and it's not so good anymore. But
wait, are you saying the golden zone that CrossFit provides is better for that?
Yes, that's right. It is.
Oh,
but if
knowledge
you don't,
bomb of the
if
day.
You don't
There's
get,
the first one.
If you don't
Keep
get
counting.
good at the movements and you don't focus on your form first, it's hard to get in that golden zone, because you're gonna need to add some weight to the bar eventually. I'm not saying we need to focus on how much weight's in the bar, but if you're finishing before everyone else, you either didn't scale correctly or...
It kind of ties in with last week, what we talked about a lot.
Yep.
Intensity.
You got to do the movements first, though. So sometimes it's a little frustrating to spend the extra time on the movements that we're not good at. Mm-hmm. But if you want to do them in a workout, you need to spend the time developing them. If you don't care about the movements in the workout and you just want to do something else to get the intended stimulus, that's when you go talk to the coach. Yep. So, pistols, I'm probably not going to do in a workout, because... sorry guys, I don't really care about pistols.
Well, and because you also know you don't have that movement down, and that's going to ruin your intensity for
exactly. I don't care about pistols in a workout.
It's not that it isn't a good skill to have.
Yeah,
you don't have it yet, so why would you use that in the workout?
Exactly. So I might do it in the strength portion. I might focus it on a skill session time, but I'm not going to do it in a workout. Same thing with muscle ups, handstand push-ups, all that stuff. MEPS is really a better indicator, I would say. So our classes should get you at least 100 MEPS each class, all right? So 3 classes a week, 100 MEPS. 100...
I think I have people getting that in weightlifting class.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. 3 classes a week. The emails you get say you need 1,300 MEPS a month. That's going to get you over that. It's pretty much perfect. So MEPS are a good thing to watch. If your heart rate is... if you do a running workout, if you do a lot of running and your heart rates get really high, it's going to throw off your MEP count a little bit. But if you can run a lot and your heart rate's really high for a long time, hey, that's cool too.
Hey, can somebody give us a thumbs up to make sure the video's working? I got a message from somebody that the video may be cut out. It's probably just their poor cell phone service.
Yeah, mine's running.
Okay, we're good. But just give us a thumbs up if you're out there listening, that you're still listening. Or you can hear us at least, and you're probably going to watch it later. So a lot of good talk there about leading into intensity again.
So
notice that's a common theme.
Is a yellow walk as good as a yellow run?
Yeah, let's answer the question.
Yes, as far as I know. I don't know if there's some sort of issue in your walk.
So
maybe you're carrying 100 pounds.
It comes back to intensity again, right? A yellow walk might be really intense for somebody.
Yeah,
or somebody
exactly.
who's super fit, the yellow run is going to be that 80% territory, correct? So somebody who's new to fitness has been sedentary for years leading up to them getting back.
So I guess
fitness.
the easy answer is yes. A yellow walk is just as good as a yellow run.
That's a great answer. So, and again, think about your intensity, right? If you're constantly stuck not being able, or in the same heart rate zone, or you're not getting reds, or you're not getting yellows like everybody else is in the class on short workout days, think about it. Are you picking good movements for you? If you don't have any, if you just learned how to snatch the day before and you're just not, you didn't quite get it yet, Maybe we needed to stick with a different variation, like a dumbbell snatch instead, to get your heart rate, to get your intensity up so you can move faster. You'll hear coaches talk about this a lot in the gym, and this is a good measurement of it. If you have a MyZone, you can measure that for yourself.
Yeah, as a coach, my favorite thing about having a class with the MyZone on is honestly during the warm-up, I can see that everyone's actually warmed up.
I use that every day.
Getting warmed up.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Let's head on to the next question. Really good questions. Let's talk wrist wraps. What are the benefits and drawbacks of using them for lifts and WODs in general? Okay, I'm going to take this one. So the benefits are, if you have wrist pain, this can help at least get rid of some of it, or at least keep some good tension in your wrist so you don't feel as much wrist pain. Because let's be honest, front rack positions, overhead squats, it is extremely normal to experience some kind of wrist pain when you're doing that. Oftentimes, the mobility of our wrists, you're cutting off circulation in your wrist when you do those barbell movements. And if you've tried everything from fixing your wrist position to keeping a more vertical position, your wrist wraps aren't a bad option. Again, if they allow you to do more work in your workout, why not wear them? It kind of goes back to the intensity question again. Now, here's what I'm going to say. I don't think there's a drawback to wrist wraps as long as they're really simple to get on and get off. If they're always falling off all the time and you have to stop to fix them in the WOD, that's the only time I think they're a drawback. So I always try to find the simplest. This is just me personally. I always try to find the simplest wrap, like usually the McDavid or those small Rogue ones that look like the old school headband material. They just one Velcro around and it's on. Okay? It's not to say the really long ones aren't good. I just struggle to wrap them correctly on my wrist. Now, talking about wrapping correctly on your wrist, oftentimes the issue I see with wrist wraps is they're actually worn incorrectly. So if you're wearing your wrist wrap down below your wrist, so you can see this little bump on my wrist here, right? So if you're wearing it like right in line with that or below that, I'm not really sure what's that doing for your wrist. Now, if for whatever reason the pain's more down in your forearm, that makes sense. But if you're wearing it because you have a hard time keeping your wrist straight or you get wrist pain in an overhead squat, you want to wear that wrist wrap right on the bottom of your palm here. This is what I want covered. If you can see your whole palm, you're not wearing the wrist wrap correctly most likely. So what I would encourage you to try next time you have an overhead movement, jerk, push press, overhead squats, is to wrap the bottom of your palm more so it limits how much your wrist can move. That's really, really important when you're wearing the wrist wrap, if you're wearing the wrist wrap correctly or not. Okay? Josh, you got anything to add there?
Only thing I have to add is don't become overly dependent on it if you don't have to.
And that goes with any accessory piece of gear. If you don't have to use it, don't. It's like belts for like really light snatches and cleans. It's like probably don't need it. A lot of people did the Granite Games, and we had first off, we had a couple questions like this today, so we're going to answer it all under this one. This just seemed the easiest one to read out. A lot of people did the Granite Games this past weekend. Congratulations to everybody. We had a lot of teams up there this weekend.
Strong work.
Yeah, a lot of good finishes too. How long would you take off after doing a competition like Granite Games?
Depends on your volume previously to the Granite Games.
That's good. That's a good start.
I think we saw this yesterday when Brad Russell came into the gym. He's like, "Oh, I'm fine." Well, Brad Russell works out a lot.
Yep.
Probably more than anyone in the gym.
He's probably adapted that volume a little better.
Yep. If you're a 3-day-a-weeker and you did Granite Games, you're probably a hurting unit right now.
Or if your hands are completely missing, like the front side of your hand.
Yeah. So, number one, learn from that and be prepared for the next competition. Right? We don't ruin our hands like that. Know your body, know yourself. If it's a out of the ordinary amount of volume for you, which it probably is for most people, most of our athletes that went aren't spending 2 hours in the gym every day.
Yeah, when we're saying volume, like Josh just said, the amount of training you're doing daily. Are you just doing a class? Are you doing a class plus extra skill work? That's what we're talking about when we're saying total volume.
Yeah. So, again, I've actually worked on some formulas on this in a spreadsheet, but I haven't got it finalized about volume and how much volume you need during the week to cover you in comps. And the competitions have gotten a lot better. Those of you that have been doing them for a while have noticed that the volume is considerably less, even though the same amount of workouts used to be, hour and 20 minute plus of total volume per day. And now that's dropped to probably under 30 minutes, maybe a little bit more than that, but around 30 minutes a day of volume. So that's been a great improvement. It allows the average CrossFit athlete to participate and not just be destroyed. But know yourself, know how you feel. Get back to the gym as soon as you can and get moving, even if it's not in class. Just, moving is the key to getting all that stuff out.
Using Brad as an example yesterday, I think Brad came in and he rode the bike for an entire class.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? He's just sipping water. That's a good way to approach it the week after. Take an active recovery week. Again, like Josh said, if this is way above your average normal volume, which I think it probably was for 90% of the people who did it, don't hesitate to take this week to feel good. Even if you feel good, that doesn't mean your body's recovered. You know what I mean? You can feel good and still be super run down and whatnot. And this can lead to some slight overtraining, which just means it's harder to recover after workouts. That's what you might notice, all right, if you're overtrained a little bit. It's harder to, you feel more sore than you're used to feeling. Those are all signs of overtraining, and the list goes on. But don't hesitate to take a week or two where you do something different or you do less of what you used to do. Come in, maybe you do the WODs. Don't be afraid to do lighter weights this week, though. No coaches are going to get on you about it. If somebody asks, just give them a heads up, like, hey, I'm just kind of taking a couple weeks or just a week to dial back on how much weight I normally lift, on how intense I normally go, and I just got to move this week. That's totally okay and a great idea. Great question, by the way. If you want to talk more about that, post comments below. Next question. What is the most underrated movement, that could be exercise, lift, etc., in the gym / CrossFit? I got a couple. I'm going to go bird dog, and then I'm going to go, we talked about bird dogs last week, look at the show notes, and then I'm also going to say anything strict. So that's strict push-ups, that's strict handstand push-ups, that's strict pull-ups. Anything strict. I think that's super underrated in CrossFit, and I know I've heard Glassman say the same thing. And if Glassman says it, I'm on board. What about you, Josh?
We have a guest. Just kidding.
Oh, the guest is leaving.
I'm going to be very general and say unilateral movements.
That's a good answer.
We try to focus on these at least one of our training sessions every year. People sometimes are like, where are the dumbbells? Or where are the barbells? Where are the barbells? And then when we reintroduce the barbells, like, oh, PR. Yeah. So
in unilateral movements, is that just to like...
She's back.
Unilateral movements, could you give me an example of something?
Single arm press, single arm swing.
Pistol.
Single pistol. I was going to say a single leg squat.
Yes. The name changed just so much for that movement.
That's right.
So much less aggressive.
Well, I don't understand what a pistol is.
Single leg squat. Unilateral work, again, most of us are imbalanced. We carry, I think I've heard statistics where you can carry up to 10 pounds of body weight on one side versus the other, just because one side is overdeveloped. And if you've done an in-body scan, you have you have, what's the word? Not asymmetries, but you might not be as symmetrical as you think.
We could have a whole show on this.
Yeah.
That was for Ryan.
But again, so Josh said unilateral movement.
It's for you, Clara.
What was that? Oh, the clicking? Yeah, whatever. But, so unilateral movement. Single leg RDLs are a really good example of that. Single arm dumbbell pressing. If you haven't tried single arm dumbbell bench press, that's a doozy. That will rock your world. And that's simple accessory work you could be doing for anywhere from 3 to 5 sets of, 8 to 10 reps after a class if you're looking for something extra to do to help take care of your body. Bodybuilding goes a long way in unilateral movements specifically. Let's move on to the next one. Nick suggested the Faliev 80-20 routine to me. I don't really have a question, but everyone I explain it to seems interested. So here's your opportunity to explain it to the masses in one fell swoop. Okay, I'll post an article in the show notes where I got this from. Again, I did not come up with this, hence the name Faliev 80-20. Okay, this was posted on a Tim Ferriss podcast by a guy named Pavel Totzelin, and Faliev is a famous powerlifting coach. Now, this program is essentially the inspiration for the strength portion actually at CFP. Not sure if the person who asked this question knows this, but it's the inspiration for everything we do here. And most people would not be able to do this program in exactly how it's written because it's too simple. Okay? It literally starts with a 5x5 deadlift, back squat, bench press. Okay? You deadlift once a week. You have 2 back squat sessions and 2 bench press sessions each week. Those are the only 3 exercises you literally do in this program the entire time. It is listed as a beginner's program, and I would consider anybody a beginner who hasn't followed an organized training routine before.
For how long?
For how long? For 2 years. Okay, for 2 years. That sounds extreme, and you might think I'm sarcastic, but I'm not.
We could look at the, they have a chart with your...
The Russia does. Master of Sport.
Yeah, the Master Sport chart.
Yeah.
You should include that in notes.
Well, look, yes, Master of Sport chart. That's fun. You can get ranked as a Russian athlete. Okay, anybody can find that. But anyways, so what you do is for 4 weeks, you progressively overload. So you do 5x5 on the major days for all 3 lifts, deadlift, back squat, bench press. And then on the secondary days, they're more just technical days where you work on technique. And you literally do 80%. I think it's 4x4. You'll see it in the article I post on a secondary bench and back squat day. And that's not just 80% of your 1 rep. That's 80% of the 5x5 you did that week. So it's not that heavy, and movement is the focus. Okay? It can be split up. The cool thing about the program, you can do it in 3 days, 4 days, 5 days. Valiev recommends 5 days to do this program. You literally should be in and out of the gym in an hour or less for it. And if you set a PR, you should probably go home for the week, is what Valiev and Pavel Tatselin recommend. It's different.
Pavel, he's awesome.
Yeah, he's awesome.
He recommends 15 to 20 minutes between lifts in one of his online videos. And he says, this is very good for gym owners.
Yeah, and this, yes, it is. It's worked very well for myself. I think Michael's done variations of this. It's really simple strength. If you're looking for something super simple, it's really great. I don't know if I have time to finish the total explanation of it, but essentially you do that for 12 weeks. You go 5x5 for 4 weeks, 5x3 for 4 more weeks, and you go to singles for 4 weeks. And the idea is that you're adding 10 pounds on all your lifts every single week for the 5x5. Now, you're not going to be able to do that the entire program most likely, but you will for most of it. And you can literally do this for a super, super long time. If you'd like to learn more about it, talk to me about it. I've been working on a template, a mass template to shoot out to people at CFP, whoever wants something like that. The reason I recommend it oftentimes is because it helps control volume for people who are looking for extra stuff here. So, for example, I think I gave this to Ryan Seafelt because he's focusing on rucking right now. And this was good because it was a little bit amount, it was little volume, but it still allowed him to be really strong while he focused on the endurance aspect of rucking. And that's why I think it's good, because it doesn't add just gobs and gobs of volume. It's light, but you get strong.
You don't need to get fancy until you've burnt out the simple.
Yep, exactly. And for most of us, simple is probably the duration of our exercising career or our exercising hobby, and that's a great way to be. All right? There's nothing wrong with simple. It's actually probably the best, right? Because you can focus on other things in your life, like home, work, pets, whatever your hobbies are besides the gym, and I know the gym is a big hobby for a lot of people, though, which is awesome. Again, if you want to know more about Valiev, check the show notes afterwards. I'll post the article. Let's move on to next question. What are the best supplements everybody could benefit from using? Real food. I'm going to go with real food for the best supplements. Again, we said this on the first episode, I think, or the first time we had some nutrition questions. You got to be eating real food before you do supplements. And then I think if you have the food thing down, I think everybody could benefit from just basic whey protein. What about you, Josh?
Best supplements. Yeah, real food always first, guys. If you can't do that, if you can't do that though, we sell some pretty good stuff here. Just know what you're putting in your body.
Just know what you put in your body.
Yeah, I mean everyone should have a protein probably, unless you have your food stocked at the gym.
Yeah, and if you can't handle, it doesn't have to be whey protein, just whatever you can handle. What are the supplements that everyone is using that aren't worth it and or are used incorrectly?
Pre-workouts. Next question.
Yeah, pre-workouts. Just don't throw random stuff in your body because it makes your face feel fuzzy.
I don't know. Should we go there? Could have a whole show on this.
It sounds like you have something there. Just spit out like 2 more sentences. Let's see where it goes.
Why do you need a pre-workout?
Ooh, this could tie back into what you do the week after Granite Games.
Yeah.
Maybe you're run down. Maybe you're tired.
I mean, so I do use a pre-workout, but it's only before a Spartan race.
Yeah.
Because maybe if I did a competition, I might use one, I guess.
See, I just don't like a pre-workout as much as I like drinking coffee.
Yeah, I mean, coffee's a great pre-workout.
Oh.
Coffee and a banana is like, we should bottle that up and sell it.
Oh my God. We're done with the podcast. We got to go do this. Next week's show sponsor, Coffee and Banana Inc.
Marcy, last week we talked about sickness. Take the week off, stay well. Don't bring the sickness here. You're going to recover faster if you're well rested. If you want to come in and just chill, if you're not contagious, that's fine. Mm-hmm. But don't stress your body.
Right. Duck. I'm going to say gray duck. What are you going to go with here, Josh?
Are there children watching this show?
No! Oh my God.
Is that yours, Ryan? Duck. Yeah, great game. I didn't really get it until I was older, but that was just how I was. I was very, very concrete as a child.
I think there's only one answer, though. It's gray duck. Now, if you're not from Minnesota, you might not understand this.
Yeah,
phenomenon.
what's the other name? Goose.
Duck Goose.
Duck Goose.
And Duck Goose, and you might be like, "Oh, these Minnesotans are crazy." It's like we're not arguing.
The gray duck is a goose.
and we're not arguing. It's just in Minnesota, this is a tradition. Gray duck.
Yeah.
If I went somewhere else, if I went to like New York State and goose is an accepted term, I would say Duck Goose, just because I was in New York. But if I'm in Minnesota, it is Duck Gray duck.
But it doesn't make sense to say goose because it's little chicks. It's supposed to be little chicks. They all look the same except for the gray one who turns out to be the goose. Haven't they read the book?
Probably not. We should feature that next week too. We do a book reading episode. Okay, here's a football question. I'll preface this. Dalvin Cook is the Minnesota Vikings running back. Jamal Williams, at least for now, is the starter for the Green Bay Packers. The question is, if Dalvin Cook and Jamal Williams were placed in a CrossFit-style competition, who do you think would win? I think it'd be really close. I'm going to give the edge to Dalvin Cook. I definitely am biased. He has more league experience, I think, than Jamal Williams. Jamal Williams finally got like his first serious start this year, where Dalvin Cook got it last year before he got injured. Dalvin Cook all day. He's just super, super fast. I don't think you're going to catch Jamal Williams isn't as fast. Jamal Williams is really good at pass blocking, though. He's really good at blocking incoming linebackers and DNs, though. So
does this CrossFit style competition include CrossFit movements?
Yeah.
I have no idea. I don't even know who Jamal Williams is.
Starting running back for Green Bay Packers.
Yeah, you said that. I don't know who he is.
He's not as jacked as Dalvin Cook.
Dalvin Cook looked pretty tough today.
Except for that bumble, which was brutal. But yeah, Dalvin Cook wins for sure. How accurate are the air assault runners? When I run what I feel is my normal pace on them, my mile time is significantly longer than outside. I'm going to let Josh take this. Please pay attention to this answer.
What?
If you've been judging yourself by the air assault runner, you need to hear this.
Okay. We should have talked about this beforehand, maybe. I don't know what I'm supposed to say.
Oh, okay. No, so they're asking.
I know. How accurate is it? It's not accurate at all, the outside running. Is that what I'm supposed to say? That's the truth.
It's not accurate. It's because what is it, like a 5% incline?
Yeah, it's like running uphill all the time. So if you live in that sort of world, which we don't, it's very accurate. But if you live in the normal world, it's not accurate at all. But it's very powerful, potent tool. Yeah.
So if you're comparing your mile time outside to the air assault runner time, your air assault runner time is going to be way slower.
Unless you're running uphill for a mile. Then
it's comparable.
Yeah.
If it's at the same grade that the air assault runner is. But again, generally, if you're training on the air assault runner like this winter time, that's going to be really popular to get your runs in on the air assault runner. Your mile time is faster than what it says on the air assault runner.
Yeah, and if you improve your time on the air assault runner, you'll improve your outside mile time.
Oh, yeah. If you improve, there you go. Improvement is going to show improvement. I know the answer to this question, but I have to ask it so I can let everyone knows how I really feel. Is Ryan Seifelt really as amazing as I hear he is?
Wow. How did this one get by the screeners,
I don't
Nick?
know. It just showed up. It sounded interesting.
This must be the last question.
Yeah, no, it's not the last question. There's a couple more good ones after this.
Wow.
How I really feel is Ryan Seifelt really as amazing as I hear he is. You know what? He's a pretty good dude. He's a fixture. He's a fixture at a lot of the events he goes to. the Breadfest events. I mean, what would Hammer Race be without Breadfest? I'm just kidding.
Yeah, less cleanup. Ryan. Yeah, well, I mean, the staff know him really well. I think he PMs each one of us 3 or 4 times a day.
Yep.
And then when he comes in a not normal Ryan mood, everyone notices. So I don't know. He's a pretty good guy.
Yeah, he's a good dude. I'd go to a Spartan race with him.
Yeah.
Tomatoes are probably my favorite food ever. What are some fun ways I incorporate more of them into my diet? Should I incorporate more of them into my diet? Give me your tomatoes. So, I didn't have a good answer for this, so I reached out to one of our nutrition coaches, Julie O'Brien, and she wrote this nice board here. Hopefully you can see this. And Josh, go ahead and just read these off while I hold it up.
Oh, there again, assuming I can read.
Okay.
Freeze them, run under warm water and peel. Caprese, tomato slices with basil, mozzarella, or Parmesan. That's probably the only way I actually like tomatoes. Ooh. Or wait, I like them on a sandwich too, but I just don't have many sandwiches anymore. So
I'm just not a tomato guy in general.
Me neither. But salsa, pico over
dehydrate,
cherry, tomatoes, olive oil and basil. Yeah.
Ooh.
Salsa pico. That would be good.
Yeah.
I do like salsa.
Tomato
sauce, chicken meatballs, meatloaf. Yeah. Stewed tomatoes braised on braised chicken thighs. Tomato and avocado toast. That sounds good for good. Mm-hmm. Stuffed tomatoes. Add your tomatoes to eggs. We have a lot of tomatoes at our house because
I'll hold this up a little while longer.
Jen likes them in our salads. I usually don't put them in my salad. There are some people that do have issues with nightshades, believe it or not, and can tell when they are eating tomatoes.
I feel like I'm on an NPR show now. That was really good information.
Yeah. Also, don't refrigerate your tomatoes. It ruins the taste. I just learned that like 3 years ago.
What?
You shouldn't refrigerate your tomatoes.
Why?
It ruins them. Like it just some chemical change in them.
Oh my God.
Yep.
They like poison you afterwards?
I don't think it poisons you.
It just tastes terrible.
But they don't taste well.
You heard it here first.
I think it's tomatoes.
Don't refrigerate tomatoes.
It might be something else.
It might be something else. But scroll back in time after we've posted up this video, and you can see all those awesome ideas for incorporating more tomatoes in your life. If you're a tomato lover,
you could take a photo of that and post it.
Ooh, that's a good idea. I'll take a photo. I'll post in the show notes afterwards.
We all carry coffee machines in our pockets now.
That's right.
Blows my mind. I'm so old.
Oh my God. Okay. This is one of our last questions. This is a really great question. I know our gym is about longevity, health, and forever fitness, but why don't we have more classes for those who want to compete at the elite level? Possibly one Saturday a month. So
we could have a whole show about this.
Yes, we could have like 10 shows about this. Really good question. We had a huge turnout at Grand Games this weekend, and that was fantastic. And I think we had a lot of people who placed in the large team divisions of over 130 teams. I think we had people placing routinely in the top half of those, which is really, really good for Granite Games since most of those teams probably could be in higher divisions. So we actually just had a class like this. It was a specialty class ran by Jeremy McGinney. So keep your eyes peeled out, and if you really like that specialty class, make sure you voice your opinion. Talk to Jeremy when you see him at a gym. I'm sure he would love to run another class like that because it was a huge success the first time around.
Yeah, we used to have a competitor class 2 or 3 times a week, and it just wasn't well attended, so we canceled it. Mm-hmm. Saturday class is definitely an option. We just need, we need someone to cover it. We need to pay them, yeah, I mean, our teams did really well, and consistently over time, if you look at the athletes in our gym who do really well in CrossFit competitions, it's the people that come to class every day.
Yep.
So,
and I'm going to add to that too. It depends. And what do you mean by competing at the elite level? Because I think there's a lot of different things we could unpackage there.
Yeah, are we talking about
so if
Nicole and Jeremy?
Yeah. So and let's talk about that for a second. So you could ask either of those people, or you could ask anybody at the CrossFit Games, and they all have personal coaches. So if you're talking about, hey, you want to train to go individual RX at Granite Games, or to do really well in the Open and possibly go to regionals or whatever it's going to be this year, you need an individual coach. Right. You need a specialized programming, and there are literally hundreds of different websites to pick from, and coaches and trainers and whatnot. You can coach jump, whatever you want to do, and you pay a monthly fee for that from these coaches.
Yeah, and it's very similar to nutrition programming, where you can pick any program you want. What your coach's job is to make sure you do it.
Correct.
That's the main thing. The coach isn't supposed to write you a fancy program. They're supposed to make sure you get the work done.
That's right. Simple, but it's accountability is what you're paying for.
Yep.
If you just want to, if you're talking elite level, like you want to go to Granite Games and do well in the team of 3, or you had a lot of fun doing teams of 3 this weekend, for example, and you want to see if you can get better that way, well, one, you got to have 2 other people to do it with. I would train with those people for the next year. And let me ask you this: if you're continuing to see PRs doing what you're doing, I don't think I'd change anything. I think you're on your way. I think the biggest thing that maybe people are missing is, do you have all the CrossFit skills down already? You know what I mean? And that could be worked on
if you
with
want to
any
be
coach
an
at the gym.
RX athlete, you need the skills first.
Mm-hmm.
And the fastest way to get there, honestly, is, paying a coach for 30 minutes to help you out.
Yeah, and we do have that as an offer here at the gym. You could work with any coach you want to choose, and you could pay for the 30-minute personal training sessions, and that's what it takes. Okay, oftentimes we'll go through pull-up progressions. Oftentimes we'll go through handstand progressions and whatnot in the gym. We'll go through weightlifting progressions, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. But what are you weakest at? Attack your weaknesses, and that will help you compete at the elite level. I don't think there's a better example of that than Coach Nate in the gym.
Yeah,
that's what he's done for the better part of a decade.
Yeah,
he's attacked his weaknesses.
Spreadsheet Nate. Put everything on a spreadsheet. He does it. I guess he did this with his whole life. It's all down there. He could even has a future in there.
I think he might be a little more varied now, but I think he does a lot. Most of the workouts that are at the gym, doesn't he? Most of what we program are variations of it.
Yeah, the WOD he does. He just when you get up to the amount of weight he's lifting in the strength portion, he's going to need more time to warm up.
Correct.
So he does warm up outside of class usually, but yeah.
So I guess to answer your question, I don't know if one class a week is necessarily going to get you to the elite level either. It needs to be a focus. It needs to be a set goal.
I don't know if they mean elite or just I don't know what they mean. But
yeah, I guess you got to define what you mean.
I think
by
Jeremy's
elite
class
athlete.
was great. I mean, it's especially if you're doing team stuff. I mean, the amount of experience he has in the team realm there's a lot of hidden knowledge that people think they don't know, or there isn't, but there's a ton of hidden knowledge that he has.
Yeah.
And it's always worth paying for a coach. Everything. I mean, I pay for a business mentor, and it's just my mind is blown by all the stuff I miss.
Yeah.
So. Yeah.
You're never too old, or you're never experienced enough to have a coach and learn something new. Go look into one of those individual programming websites. See if you can get a coach. There's a lot of people who even post it for free, but you just don't get the coach support with it. I know you can go to CrossFit New England's website. You can get their WOD. And he's coached a couple good athletes in his day, Ben Bergeron. We could do a whole nother show on that.
No, we can't. 2 minutes tops on Ben. Sorry.
Oh, that's okay. At least this isn't live on Facebook. Yeah, so it depends what you mean by elite level. The class is definitely a possibility. You just got to get one of the coaches who want to run the specialty class. Or if you want it to be a mainstay, open to everybody, then you just have to get enough people who want to do it. And we need to find somebody who will staff it and run it every weekend. So talk to your favorite coach.
It needs to work into the budget.
It needs to work into the budget as well. So talk to your favorite coach. We'll bring it up at one of our meetings, and we'd love to hear it.
Marcy has a question here along the same lines, actually. Have you considered adding a rev class at 4:30 in the gray gym? She said black gym. I don't know what that is, but in the gray gym. Yes, we have considered that, Marcy. So like anything else, we have a lot of classes for a gym with our membership base. So a lot of our adding classes decision is based on the amount of members we have. And right now, the membership base doesn't support any more classes really being added. But it's always a good thought. If the other rev classes are full and we get a lot of requests for that, we can consider it.
Can you open Claire's
I
question?
can't open it.
I can't open it either.
I know what she's talking.
There it is.
I know what she's talking
I got
about.
it open.
Okay.
So we had a really good comment in regards to this question. Clara posted an example of a very, very established games athlete. I think she's retired now, Michelle Latender.
Yeah,
Latendra?
she was the most successful coach at the CrossFit Games this year.
Ooh, okay. So here's a good comment. Claire says, Michelle Latendra is a fan of having the competitors in regular classes. She was one of the most successful coaches of the game. And I'm gonna second that. It's what do you have to do to get better at CrossFit? More CrossFit. You need to be doing WODs, and then like we talked about, you have to have all the foundational skills. All right, and how do you get to those skills? Well, then you might have to pay a coach to help teach you those, or if you have a coach who's willing to work with you outside of class, talk to them. But it's definitely worthwhile. If you want to get it fast, get a personal coach.
Yeah, I posted. I don't know where Clara got this info. I posted the. She's on the Two
I don't know
Brain.
where she got this.
She might listen to the podcast that she's on. She's on the Chris Cooper's podcast talking about this very thing, and she requires her athletes to be in class at least once a week. So she says, it's that atmosphere is important not only for the athlete to push them and get them in that environment. It's her main point, though, was very interesting. She was like, most CrossFit athletes who are on their own programming don't ever have any time domains put on them. And she says it's very important for them to be told what to do. You have 5 minutes to get ready. It's not, I need to go get my shoes, I need to do this. And she says, being in a class, she requires the athletes to be in a class, and they have to follow exactly the routine that everyone else is doing and be ready to go. And she says that's very important because when you go to an event, you're not in control of anything. So she's a smart cookie. Oh, Clara did listen to that podcast. Cool. I posted that podcast in the coaches forum, I believe. We can put it in the show notes too. It's a great listen.
Awesome. I'll put that in the show notes. Yeah. So show notes. Look for the Michelle Latendra podcast. Yeah. And if you want to talk more about this again, hit us up. We'd love to hear your goals. If your goal is to make it to the elite level, talk to a coach. Make sure you have a game plan how to get there. What does elite level mean to you? Maybe you're already there. You might be closer than you think. It might just be a few skills that you have to get down. So, let's see. Yep, and that was the last one today.
50 minutes?
50 minutes?
Wow.
This might be a PR. We had a lot of good questions today.
Oh, Clara says I did post it in CFP, so I'm in so many groups, I don't know which ones I'm posting it in.
You posted it in CFP. All right. Hey, thanks again, everybody who tunes in and listens to this podcast. We can't thank you enough. We did a day early this week. I'm heading out of town this week. We will catch you all next Wednesday for episode 6. We're getting close to double digits. Thanks again. Again, if you want to sponsor the podcast, hit us up. Okay? We'll get you your infographics up. We take checks.
See you later, guys.